Okay, folks, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to talk about what to do when you get fired or you're forced to resign from your position or you're forced to quit. Okay, my name is Eric James Erb. I've been in the workforce over 40 plus years. I've worked multiple positions and had multiple positions in multiple fields, everything from the restaurant management right up through property management. I've even worked with the IT department before and many other positions, worked with construction. I've done just about everything there is to know. I've even worked in healthcare, the education system. So on this video, I'll get right to the point here, folks. On this video, I want to cover what to do if you get fired or you're forced to resign and lose your position. The first thing is, when you get fired, be calm. That's the first thing. Don't panic. Don't panic. I know people are like, oh, Eric, shut up. I'm going to panic. I got rent. I got this. I got that. I got to feed the kids and buy the food, pay the rent, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. I have all those bills too here. Okay. Just because you live over here in another state or this or that doesn't mean I don't have the same thing. I have the same exact thing. I have to do all that. Okay. So the first thing is not to panic. The second thing is, once you absorb what happened to you and you digest it, and hopefully that doesn't take all day, you digest it and you process it, start a game plan or plan of action. That's the first thing. The second thing is, once you start a game plan of action, I usually write stuff down, like ABC, 1, 2, 3. And what I do is I start a plan of action in A, because I've had this happen. I haven't been fired a lot, but I've had to go through and I've had to counsel a lot of people over the years when stuff like this has happened. A lot of friends, family, relatives will ask me, Eric, what do you think? What do you think? Because they know that I've had multiple positions throughout all different facets and areas in life. And they know that I've been blessed by God, and fortunate enough to be able to deal with a lot of these serious problems. And so, again, what I do, again, is I just make a list of what you need to do, ABC, 1, 2, 3. And on the top of the priority list is job search. That's the top of the priority, making time and job search. And usually I set aside at least an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, at least, sometimes more with me. I'm kind of obsessive compulsive a little bit, because if I am out of work and needing to find a job, I mean, I live it, I breathe it. I'll even eat my dinner at my work desk here at home until I find a job. I mean, I'll literally around the clock. I'll do that. I become obsessed, but I don't want you to do that. But I become obsessed because that's what I desire and that's what I want to do. So the first thing is, start looking for jobs. And again, I would suggest, as I suggested on the last video I just did, Indeed has some very good jobs on there. ZipRecruiter's another good one. These are two really, they're the biggest sites in the United States, if not around the world, for jobs, millions and millions of jobs. And then, of course, as a third party, you can try LinkedIn. Once in a while, LinkedIn will come through. Again, it's a social media. You don't have to do that. There are many other places to find a job. If you really become desperate, you can register, like down here in Florida, we have HH Staffing. There's always Manpower. We have Liberty Staffing. We have tons of Pride Staffing. We have all kinds of staffing agencies. That's just another way to get your foot in the door. So in case you got fired and you lose your job, you can start working once again. And that's something that is important for most people. They got to get back on your feet. And again, diving in and doing the job search, registering on the big three, or at least two out of the big three, Indeed and ZipRecruiter, the job websites, and start digging in. I have a lot of friends, folks, and I'll just tell you this personally without giving any personal information. I have a lot of friends personally, at least one or two, that all they do is they complain all the time. And I hear it up here, and it drives me crazy. I hear it, all the time, that they're always complaining. I pray to God. Belief in God is very important. And somebody say, why are you bringing God up in the video? It has nothing to do with jobs. Yes, it does. If you believe in a higher source, you believe in God, you'll be blessed. And I really, truly believe that. A lot of people think I'm crazy. Well, you can think whatever you want, but I have belief in God through Jesus Christ. That's the first thing. And the second thing is I never quit. You cannot quit. No matter what you're doing, you cannot give up. And my belief in God, and I never give up. And again, I go through these patterns, and I got this system, and I get on Indeed.com, and I look sometimes for a half an hour, then I'll get on ZipRecruiter, look for a half an hour, then maybe another 20 minutes or so on LinkedIn, and just go through the jobs there. And again, if that doesn't work after a few weeks, you can also register for temporary services. And a lot of people would say, oh, I don't know what to do. Manpower's one. You can always register for Manpower. And again, we have Liberty Staffing here in Florida. They're usually pretty good. HH Staffing. And again, there's tons and tons and tons of other staffing agencies. You just go to Google wherever your local area is, wherever in the United States you are, and just look up. Express Employment is another good one here in Florida and in different places too, Express Employment. And again, you get on the site and you don't quit and you don't give up. And you just keep going and going and going until you find a job. But you cannot let that hang over your head like this. You can't let that hang over your head like that you got fired or you lost your job or they forced you to quit. I had a situation, real quick, folks, because this video is getting a little long. I had a situation where I had to have a surgery. I worked for a Central Florida, right here in Central Florida in Tampa, a big university, but it's a third party running the university. I can't say names, I'll get in trouble. But basically, they put me on FMLA and I was only out 2 weeks, and they're not wanting to basically work with me and giving my job back. And so I was put in a situation where I had to, and people would say, oh, but the law and this and that. Yeah, I know the law. I know the employment law pretty well. But just because it's the law, and I tell people, I had this argument yesterday, folks, just because something's a law, they have to adhere, companies federally, but statewide and individual companies don't have to follow the law. At least down here in Florida, sometimes it's just batshit crazy, folks. I'll tell you that right now. It's batshit crazy. Do companies follow the law? The bulk of the companies here in Florida do. But are there a small minority, 25% or more? Absolutely. I'd say probably 30% don't really follow the federal law. They don't even follow sometimes the state law here in Florida, the employment law. So this is why you can sit there and we can play the game all day long and debate and want to fight somebody for being fired or terminated, or we can get off our ass and we can just go find a job. And that's what I choose to. Pick and choose your battles wisely, folks. And that's all I got to say. Hopefully this video's gone a little long. Hopefully some of those tips will help you push through if you just lost your job or was forced to resign. I'm Eric James Erb. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. God bless, folks. See ya. Till next time. Bye for now.